The hide tents in summer, carmite in deep winter, igluit on the spring sea ice. When I was a wolf or raven, my senses heightened just as Atata had once described. I could hear the thunder of caribou, smell the return of spring, feel the slow swell of the tides. I could call upon the animals to surrender themselves to us for a good hunt, or upon the wind to calm while we traveled by kayak and umiak along the shore of the great ocean. The spirits didn't always obey my commands, but more often than not, they did. Atata grew older. More and more, the Angakok's duties fell upon my shoulders. These were joyful seasons for me, although the lingering cloud of Sarktok's barrenness shadowed all we did. At least Topsy and Sarktok seemed happy together. I felt my first act as a leader of the camp, bringing them together, had been successful. They remained childless, but not for lack of trying. They slept in their own tent, but we could all hear their exertions long into the night. A new sound in the camp. The older men and women rarely touched each other anymore. Occasionally, as had always been the tradition, one of the other hunters' wives would offer herself to Atata for a night, but whether out of lack of interest or lack of will, my grandfather rarely accepted. Sometimes in the morning, as we all crawled naked from beneath the hides, I noticed Kiasik's erect penis. Puya and Atata would tease him about it until he disappeared somewhere and returned in a much happier mood. Sometimes I'd roll over in the middle of the night to find him beside me, stroking himself. There was no shame in this. Better he satisfy himself than try to take one of the women in the camp, disobeying the Alaruti against close relatives lying together. As I had never reached womanhood, my breasts remained quite small, but neither was I completely a man. Always I felt myself balancing between worlds like a hunter on an ice floe, worried I might tip off and drown at any moment. I soon started wearing my light atigi and trousers to sleep. With my entire family crowded nearby, I found the sleeping furs unbearably hot, but I couldn't lie naked beside Kiasik. I was too scared of what he might be thinking, and what I might think in return. Finally, I astounded everyone by building my own small karmak, so I might sleep alone. No one understood. "Won't you be cold?" asked Puya. "And lonely?" asked Atata. "It's better this way," I assured them. As we traveled on foot across the tundra on the summer caribou hunt, I tried to avoid walking too near my cousin. A full-grown man, Kiasik towered over me. His broad shoulders strained the confines of his atigi. Puya would soon have to make him a new one from the caribou we killed. He had a thick mustache for so young a hunter, and he pulled at it when angry or impatient. He was still the first to leap at any prey, the first to jump upon a floating ice pan. Sometimes his impulsiveness secured him the day's best catch, sometimes only an empty game sack and a wet parka. While Atata watched with a mixture of pride and dismay, the women of our camp, old and young alike, watched his loose, confident gait with the keen interest of falcons tracking their prey. To my shame, more often than not, I found myself doing the same. Kiasik was more than my cousin. He was my milk brother. Wanting him was little better than Kukuk's desire for his own daughter. And though Kiasik could be brave and generous and kind, he was also a vain fool. With my man's spirit, I shouldn't think of such things in the first place. I knew I should want Milik. Her woman's walk, smooth and swaying even over rough ground, had drawn the other men's attention of late. The radiating lines of her recent tattoos accented her cheeks and eyes. Her neat braids reached nearly to her waist, and her father had given her a handsome wolverine pelt for the cuffs of her parka and the border of her hood. Yet while Kiasik looked at her, I looked at him. For most of the trip inland, I avoided the problem by walking far from my milk brother. Following the signs of foraging, we'd taken a different path than usual. As we came upon new valleys and skirted unfamiliar hills, the same thought obsessed us all. Perhaps We'd finally discover other Inuit. Then the heat in our bodies could be released.